Hey guys, it's Mo from Mo in the Deep End, and I'm starting a bit early because there are storms all around, and we are right in the middle of, look, it's a cow, another cow from Twister. So, you know, God love you. Bill Paxton, gone too soon, the only man killed by Predator and or not the Terminator, Predator and Alien. Gone too soon, Bill Paxton. Thank you, Eris, for doing the mod stuff. Good morning, reindeer. I will check out that video. If you would send me a link on X, or I will just look at it myself. Fraudit Wrangler, I hope you have a good Tuesday too. Cynthia, welcome. Thanks for being here. Go get your coffee to start the day. Tammy, hello. Judge Maddie, good morning. Toodly Pip, good to see ya. Snivels and Melanie Dawson, Captain Kern. Celestial Force, good gamer, or cool gamer, sorry. Celestial Force, cool gamer. AC's Wildflower, Wolfram, thank you for taking up mod duties too. Squid Pro Quo and JKD Buck. Oh, they're going to be this afternoon, right when my kiddos have to drive to the orthodontist. Awesome. Lori, good morning. Tammy, I think it was, let me put that in real quick. I believe it was, okay. So he passed away February 25th, 2017. All the freaking good actors are passing away too soon, and Kevin Spacey continues to live. Good morning, T. Underwood and Kindle's Life Owen. Welcome and thank you for listening while you walk. I should be walking as well. Oh, well, I'm glad you're getting a little bit of sun out in West Yorkshire. I hope to one day visit. Well, I hope to one day travel out of the country, but I would have to leave my house. Good morning, Copper, Norman Dopowski, and Casey. So, our first story today, I don't generally keep up with the sports ball, but apparently there is a little of a kerfuffle. There is a little bit of the controversy or controversy, as you would say in Yorkshire, I guess. Although I never quite understood saying controversy, but that's just me. I'm a weird American, and I say everything in Midwestern covered in ranch. So take what I say with a pound of salt. Good morning, Jude. The LSU coach, Kim Mulkey, tries to explain the team skipping the national anthem ahead of the Elite Eight game versus Iowa after online backlash. While the on-court battle between Iowa and LSU captivated the attention of sports fans across the country, some were left with a sour taste in their mouth after the Tigers were absent from the floor during the national anthem. LSU coach, head coach, I didn't know that, I thought they were just coaches. Kim Mulkey told reporters that it was, quote, nothing intentionally done, end quote, and that her team has a routine that they went through before the start of the game in Albany. The outrage began to fester among some online after a video was shared by X on X by Outkick and others. It showed Iowa standing on one side of the court for the anthem before the camera panned to show that LSU was not present. Oh, and happy birthday to your grandson. 3 is such an awesome age. Have so much fun with that. He is going to be so excited. So I love that age. I love all the ages. uh, Honestly, I don't even know when the anthem was played. Well, ma'am, I think you're probably of an age it's before the damn game, you dingus. Ma'am, miss me with this noise. You know that the national anthem is played before the game. This is not confusing. Even myself, a person who is fluffy, not coordinated, and doesn't understand the sports ball of any sorts, knows that national anthems go at the beginning of the game. Mulkey said, we kind of have a routine when they're on the floor and they come off at the 12-minute mark. I don't know. We come in and do our pregame stuff. I'm sorry, listen, that's nothing intentionally done. I am calling all the BS X to doubt. I'm sorry again. Even as a total sports reject, my mother was very sad that she didn't get a daughter who could do gymnastics. She did finally get a daughter that could do gymnastics, but I was not the one. You know, you do it at the beginning of the game. This is not a news flash. She is not a new hire. Well, I say fluffy, I say Midwestern American, well-nourished. BTW, if someone calls me a woman of size, we're gonna have issues. I prefer well-nourished American, you know, famine-proof American, if you will. The Tigers fell to the Hawkeyes 94-87 at MVP Arena in Albany with superstars Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese putting on a show, with the former recording a 41-point effort. The absence of LSU drew criticism from social media users who called it, quote, embarrassing and disgusting that they weren't on the court for the national anthem. Local Louisiana sports reporter Chessa Bush noted that LSU is never on the court for the national anthem. Why are you dressed up like St. Patrick's Day? Are those your colors? I'm not a sports ball person. Is this green? And MG, I'm with you. I don't care about your routine. You get notified when the anthem and other pre-game events take place. Yeah. Yeah, my mom tried a multitude of sports. I'm simply immune. Now, weightlifting, I'm actually good, but anything else, totally immune. Tuesday night marked the final time that two of the women's basketball's biggest name would go head to head with each other at the collegiate level. Clark has already announced that she will go to the WNBA draft on April 15th, while Reese's future is with LSU is still up in the air as she decides whether to turn pro or return to Baton Rouge. I Yeah, she doesn't need she does look kinda like the Riddler. I don't Yeah, and good morning, Lady Sam, Aussie modeler. Thank you for joining us all from Australia. So there you have it. This woman is lying out of her teeth. Y you you know what? You may not agree with everything our country has done, but it allows you to play basketball at a collegiate level. Show a little respect to the people that, have sacrificed to let you play college basketball without, I don't know, speaking German. Okay? Could we do that? Could that be a thing? I I'm not trying to be ugly or anything, but we can all agree that no country is perfect and still respect what the idea of what it's trying to be. America hasn't lived up to a lot of things, but it's the best that we have right now. I don't know if we want to talk about, human rights in other countries, but we're kind of doing okay. We're not the greatest, but we're, you know, in more news of that sort. Fire department or FDNY firefighters were forced to remove a flag honoring 9/11 heroes after a politician questioned if it was a political symbol. Now, this is where I call shenanigans. Again, why are we making this political? It's not. They're honoring fallen members. I mean, unless it says like vote Biden, we're riding with Biden or, Trump or bust. I don't see how it's a political thing. Fire department brass ordered East Village Ladder Company to remove its quote unquote red line American flag, honoring the squad's six brothers killed in 9/11 after a neighborhood resident complained that it was quote unquote fascist. And a local lefty politician questioned whether it was, quote, politically charged as a symbol, end quote. What a dingus take. Like, what a galaxy brain take. Do you have no folds in your brainy bits? These men sacrificed their lives. They ran in when everyone else was running out. That's the political statement. We run in, y'all run out. I I don't see the problem with this, but we have one complaint from one, you know, sad person, and we decide to take it off just to appease that one sad person. I am so tired. Look, Twitter is not real life. X is not real life. If it seems like there's 70,000 people screaming about something, no, it's not. They're like 5 people with a bunch of sock accounts, which I can't even make because I don't understand it. But, I guess I would tell that particular person whose butt hurt that I really hope you don't have a fire issue because, if you think it's fascist, we'll just let the fire, continue on to entropy. He called it a quote fascist symbol and demanded to know why it was still up, sources said. In a March 19th email to FDNY Intergovernmental Affairs coordinator Madison Hernandez, Riviera staffer Lysander Rosario said the councilwoman's office was contacted by a constituent twice. Well, not 2 times. Dear Lord, if the same person complains 2 times, we need to just tear everything down. About the latter company's flag and asked if it was violating department rules. Quote, FDNY staff claimed it was to honor deceased firefighters. However, the constituent brought up that they could have used the FDNY flag rather than a politically charged symbol, Rosaria wrote. It is both his and our understanding that private political symbols are not permitted to be displayed on public vehicles. Can you confirm that there are any violating flags or symbols on the Ladder 11? Added an email, which was obtained by the Post. Well, I'm glad all the problems in New York were solved so that we're just worried about a flag because you know what? I'm getting more irritated with these are first world problems. You wanna talk about equality? Do you wanna talk about, the woman in Iran who got beat up because her hijab, moved just a little bit and showed some of her hair? Do we wanna talk about female genital mutilation? Do we wanna talk about honor killings? Do we wanna talk about, real problems? There are real gaps in human rights that we don't wanna talk about. But we focus on a flag. If you really are so activistic, deal with it. I am so done with these people. Stop. Stop being slacktivist. Also, fascist means that a government is working with corporations in concert in order to control the populace. Please look up the word before you use it. Like literally, holy Jesus, stop using that word unless it actually means that. Hours after the quote unquote constituent left the firehouse, FDNY Deputy Chief Joseph Citarelli visited firefighters there and reluctantly said the flag must come off the fire truck because it violated department prohibition of altered versions of the American flag. The rule was implemented in 2020 by then Commissioner Danielle Daniel, I'm not saying that last name because that's trap. It's a TARP, you guys. It's TARP. Um, Danielle N. and First Deputy Commissioner Lauren Kavanaugh during the height of the anti-cop, just the Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter sort of kerfuffle that we still seem to be in. Uh, Scarelli told the firefighters that he agreed with them and that it's ridiculous to remove the flag and recalled one of the smoke eaters. The order sparked immediate outrage on social media, with conservative Instagram influencer Rogan O'Handley posting a photo of the flag saying, NY firefighters forced to take down a memorial for those that died on 9/11. What has happened to NYC? Hours later, now Commissioner Kavanaugh and Chief of Department Joe Hodgkins reversed the decision and allowed the flag back on the truck. Oh, they're going to get more complaints. Who cares? We are happy with the outcome of this, but we are offended it happened in the first place, said an a Ladder 11 firefighter. This flag has huge significance for us. Ladder Company 11 displays its red line flag next to a memorial placard on the back of its fire truck honoring Lieutenant Mike Quilty and firefighters Mike Camarada, Edward Day, John Hefferman, Richard Kelly Jr., and Matthew Rogan, all of whom were killed responding to the World Trade Center attacks on September 11th, 2001. Quote, I wish Riviera's office would have come at it like, hey, we want to learn about the flag and what it represents before they asked to take it down, said another Ladder 11 fireman. Riviera insisted to the Post that her office never contacted Ladder Company 11 about the issue and that the initial complaint was a constituent, not a staffer. Nah, look, this is some staffer who just got out of college who's like, this is all fascism. Everything is fascism. No, just no. This is why we can't have nice things. She said her office sent the March 19th email to the FNDY asking whether, quote, political symbols were on display, and the Ladder Company only after the constituent questioned the flag's legality in the email to her staff. We have heard nothing further from the FDNY and have taken no additional action on this matter, said Riviera, who added she allocated $450,000 in council discretionary funds to improve Ladder Company's firehouse. Well, isn't that special? You just want to make sure that they don't honor anyone who saved people. Because, mean flag. It looks mean. Well, I'm surprised they didn't go with a POW and missing in action flag, too. Swear to goodness, people make me want to lose my mind. Riviera, a former dues-paying member of the Democratic Socialists of America, voted to defund the NYPD by $1 billion in 2020 and also routinely rips cops the same year. So it doesn't seem 10 I'd bet $1 this is a staffer. This is a staffer. They don't want to get caught. So they're like, you know what? It was a constituent. Because if you have enough time to worry about a daggone flag instead of, thinking about the sacrifices other people gave to you, then bite me. You need a skill, you need a job, you need something to do. There are plenty of crusades that need, a strong voice behind them, and you choose to go for a flag, you're a slacktivist. Get to the back of the line, try to learn something and better yourself. In other news from Law and Crime, a body cam of a mistaken identity police raid that terrorized an innocent family will not be made public. Way to be a little biased in this headline. I mean, I know which way you lean, Law and Crime, but you could have said, body cam of mistaken police raid will not be made public. But you interjected terrorized an innocent family. It just it's interesting when you read a lot of news, you start picking out where they're adding in maybe editorial parts to their articles, which I usually leave out and kind of go over. A judge in North Carolina said Raleigh police do not have to release body cam video to the general public of a raid with firearms drawn at the wrong house that left a husband and his then pregnant wife and 11-month-old son traumatized. In his decision, Wake County Superior Court Judge Matthew Houston noted the delay between the 2021 raid at Amir Abad's home and the hearing this week. The judge said even though the plaintiffs alleged something noteworthy about the underlying circumstance of the warrant, the execution of the warrant itself was not noteworthy. Abad and his lawyers received the video but sought its release to the general public for, quote, purposes of emotional recovery, accountability, transparency, and policy advocacy. Abad's lawyers said they were shocked. Quote, "We think it's clear that there is a compelling public interest in this matter," the lawyers from Emancipate North Carolina, an advocacy group that opposes mass incarceration, said in a statement. At least 10 personnel from media outlets were present during the hearing, and numerous outlets have been reporting on the issue. We believe this to be a blow to transparency and accountability to the public. Media representatives for Raleigh declined to comment. Court documents spell out how it all happened on April 7th, 2021, when Abad returned home from work to his then pregnant wife and their 11-month-old son. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the lawyers are going to release it anyway. The couple was not suspected of criminal activity. The raid was based on, quote, erroneous police work in a case of mistaken identity, the court documents said. Officers handcuffed Abad and separated him from his family, taking him outside for questioning, the lawsuit alleges. The State Bureau of Investigation, SBI agent repeatedly asked Abad about a man named Abdullah. The agent showed Abad a picture on his phone of an Arab man who bore little resemblance to him, the court document said. The agent zoomed in and out on the picture several times. Abad was disoriented and confused, then realized the agent was referring to his neighbor, who was of the same build and race as Abad, but looked nothing like him, the lawsuit alleges. Uh, okay, Abad told the agent he had only spoken to his neighbor once, yet the agent insisted he had some relationship with his neighbor and had been seen coming and going out of his house multiple times despite Abad's denial, court documents said. Then suddenly the agent told Abad he needed to speak with his supervisor before he and the other agents quickly left, the lawsuit alleges. Abad later saw the warrant, which listed his address but had his neighbor's name written on the warrant. According to court documents, Abad paid for the damages to his home after the police department refused to pay, saying the damage was done during a search authorized by a valid search warrant, the lawsuit alleges. The memory of that day still remains with Abad. My wife is still afraid something like this will happen again, Abad told local NBC affiliate WRAL. So I really think that they need to be public about this. There is nothing good in hiding this. All that is going to do, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Admit you screwed up big time. You made an oopsie. You're the feds, so we all expect it. I mean, how many daggone times have we heard, "He was on our radar," but you just couldn't, catch someone before they did something awful? Look, I may have woken up and chose violence this morning, I don't know why. I'm just saying. I may have woken up and just decided to have an attitude, who knows? In better news, a Florida bride-to-be goes viral for sharing a text from her fiance's father after a marriage proposal. A recently engaged woman from Florida is attracting attention on social media after she revealed the text message she received from the man who will become her father-in-law once she weds his son. Mia Amabile, 27, a consultant creator based in Miami, is set to marry the love of her life, Alex Rudolph, so she's getting a new family, her in-laws. While there's a stereotype about tumultuous relationships with in-laws, that's apparently not the case for Maya and the Rudolphs. Maya is so close with the family that after the proposal, her future father-in-law, Doug Randolph, sent her, or Rudolph, sorry, not Randolph, sent her a text message to express how he felt about the milestone event. My dearest Mia, now that it's official, I want to take a moment to directly and personally tell you how overjoyed we all are to have you become an official member of our family and us of yours, the text read. Aw. Wait till he stops he continues to put laundry on the floor and you call his mom and you're like, "Look, Imma need you to come over here and deal with your child for 5 seconds." My in-laws, are really good, so I can't complain too much, But I do sometimes ask his mom, my husband's mom, I'm like, "You did teach him that there are no laundry fairies, right? I'm just making sure. I don't know if you had a laundry fairy in your house, because even if a basket would be right next to him, he will still drop the clothes on the floor." Squid pro quo. I think you did the best idea. So sweet. "We've loved you from the moment we met you and could always see that you and Alex were absolutely meant to be together forever." He went on, "The most important thing is that you guys clearly, unconditionally love each other and take care of each other. And that is by far the most important thing that ever matters." He concluded with, "We are so greatly looking forward to all the amazing times we get to spend together. All our love forever, Doug." Aw. Yeah. Yeah, the ability for women to be kind is so greatly overestimated because we continue to deal with the laundry fairy confusion that, really we should be given a whole lot of extra grace. I will say I hope to model this man's um, warm and inviting embrace of, new people coming into the family as, with 6 kids, I'm sure I will have all of the son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws and maybe Zimzer-in-laws, who knows? Maybe even a furry thrown in there. But I do hope that I am able to be as welcoming and as awesome as this dad was, because this is just an amazing sentiment and thing to say after a kid gets married. This this does not make me feel comforted that I can train my husband to pick up the daggone laundry. I had hope. Dang it. In odd news, a stunned mom gives birth to twins 22 days apart. I genuinely couldn't believe it. JKD Buck, can we send our husbands to you? Like as a boot camp, asking for a friend. Oh, I'm sorry, Tammy. That is a hurt that stays a long time, and I know it does. So hopefully things will change. You know, there is always hope that things will change. Dang it. Her birth experience was truly one of a kind. A UK mom gave birth to twins 22 days apart in different hospitals, baffling doctors and other twin moms. To this day, I still can't find a woman in the UK who beat 22 days. Kaylee Doyle, 22, told SWNS of the gap between births. Doyle became pregnant with twins in October 2020, recalling that all of her scans were normal. She said she didn't have any complications until she felt labor pains on March 15th, 2021. I was aware of all the risks that came with having twins. I even paid for a private doctor appointment because I was so worried about complications, she said. When I hit 21 and a half weeks, literally, I was in bed and had the worst pain of my entire life. I wasn't sure what was going on, so I went downstairs and my water broke. Doyle was rushed to Royal Oldham. We're going to go with Oldham Hospital and kept under observation for 5 days. She gave birth to baby Arlo naturally at 4:20 a.m. on March 20th, 2021. He was still 17 weeks early and weighed only 1.1 pounds. He was stillborn, with doctors presuming a blood clot in the placenta may have been the cause. He looked like a normal new baby, Doyle remembered. Doctors sat me down after birth and told me they weren't expecting twin two to survive. He will probably be born in the next couple of hours. But Arlo's brother did not immediately arrive. Doyle's contractions stopped and she was sent home to rest. After the trauma of giving birth to my first baby, I was gobsmacked when they said I could go home, the Manchester mom said. She started making appointments with a different doctor at St. Mary's Hospital. We had daily checkups between the 2 births, Doyle explained. Every day that passed, he said he genuinely couldn't believe it. Thank you very much. This is so incredibly sad, but incredibly miraculous that the body saved 1 twin. Incredibly, 22 days later, Astro was delivered on April 11th at 4:12 a.m. via a C-section at St. Mary's, and he thrived against all odds. Doctors decided to perform surgery after discovering a placental abruption, which is when the placenta separates from the inner wall of the uterus, potentially depriving the baby of oxygen. Look at how cute and sweet he is now, and he's got one of those harness things. Look, y'all, if you have a feral boy child, I used to make fun of the people that had those little harness things for children. Oh, heck no. By my youngest, I had him on one of those feral children harnesses because he just wanted to totally run everywhere. Astro, now too, weighed 2 pounds at birth. He suffered complications from being born prematurely, including a hole in his heart, retinopathy, which causes abnormal blood vessel growth in his eyes. When Astro arrived, I couldn't believe he had survived all that time, Doyle confessed. 2 weeks after coming home with Astro, Doyle held a funeral for Arlo. She said raising 1 baby while grieving his twin has been incredibly hard. We bought double everything for the babies, 2 cots, a pram with 2 seats. It was hard seeing twin moms I follow on TikTok recording all their milestones, she confided. But she channeled her grief into supporting others, eventually training as a natal intensive care unit volunteer. What a wonderful way to channel that. Oh god, I hate Coco Melon. Coco Melon is like if Baby Shark and Caillou had a baby, a mutant devil terrorist baby. That is what Coco Melon is. And thank you, Allie. Sorry, I'm using my, so I've got special shoes that I used to wear when I was doing aquatic therapy, and they're supposed to help you engage your core, and I'm realizing that my core is more of a not core. It's more of the squishy nougat you get in a Mars bar. So, you're only supposed to do about 5 minutes at a time in these shoes. So, not that that has anything to do with anything. I heard that a NICU charity was looking for volunteers in Manchester, looking for people to stay and play sessions and going to cot side for premature babies. I went through a year of training. You've got to have had a premature baby to do it, Doyle noted. I know what it feels like in the dark about it, especially with the gap between 2 babies, as well as lonely because everyone used to ask me where twin 1 was. She continued, but I honestly can't think of anything more rewarding. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. That is a great idea. I will say that so my youngest daughter was in the NICU for about 2 weeks, and most of the nurses there, except for one that I swear to God was Tammy Faye Baker's level of addicted to Sephora, like, just caked on, were so good. And, you know, I need to maybe look at volunteering because it is so scary to see your baby so small and so helpless. And, if you have other kids at home, you can't be at the NICU the entire time, and it is so hard to leave your baby at the hospital when you're generally supposed to take that baby home once you leave. That is a really, really weird feeling. They have? Oh, dear Lord. Well, considering if I hear Coco Melon, I turn the channel. In New Mexico, if you shoplift, they will catch you by hook or by crook. A shoplifter was chased by police on horses in New Mexico. Police in New Mexico had all the horsepower in this chase. A shoplifter was detained outside a Walgreens this month after trying to outrun a horse mounted police officer. Now the body cam isn't working, but Albuquerque police body cam shows a dark brown horse trotting through a parking lot behind a man in black clothing. The horse catches up to him within seconds. "It wasn't me," the man yells as he leads the horse and police officer into street and stopping traffic. The man then finds himself surrounded when two more police officers on horses arrive at the scene, the video shows. One of the officers dismounts from his horse and handcuffs the man who has charged with stealing more than $230 worth of merchandise from Walgreens. Yeah, my youngest daughter was 6 weeks early, and oh, oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, I would pay to see, the Old West return. I'm saying cops and robbers, but legitimately like a reality show. We can put blanks in there, I'm sure, just don't let, that one chick run the thing. But I would legitimately pay to see that. Because Beyoncé is now making everything cowboy, which means I get to see a bunch of people in sparkly rhinestone boots and Daisy Dukes now. So thank you, Beyoncé. Kyle, Texas seeks visitors named Kyle for a world record attempt. So if you are named Kyle, there is a, attempt to break the world record, for Kyles apparently coming up here. The city of Kyle, Texas announced that it would be making another attempt at breaking the Guinness World Record for the largest same name gathering with an official gathering of the Kyles. Can you imagine the smug and stupid? I'm just kidding. Look, I'm sure there are great Kyles out there, and many of my listeners might be a great Kyle. I just have never met a great Kyle. All the Kyles I have ever met have been, honest to God, resident actors of the douchey, you know, counterparts in John Hughes movies. So I am sure there are a great many wonderful Kyles. I just haven't met any of them. It is a cursed name like Gary to me. The city, which managed to attract 1,490 people named Kyle to the last event this past year, said the official gathering of Kyle's record attempt will take place at 1 p.m. on May 18th as part of the Kyle Fair. The current record for the largest same name gathering, first name only, was set in July 2017 when 2,325 people named Ivan attended official record attempt in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The city of Austin, Texas hosted another attempt at the record in February when the Ryan Rodeo attempted to take the title by bringing together people named Ryan. That fell short of taking the title. Well, there you go. Look, like I said, there's a lot of good Kyles out there. I just seem to have only met the schmucky ones. Oh, cuddly puppies are the best. In more serious news, quote, "Cross the line," end quote, judge rips Karen Reed prosecutor for poor judgment in issuing video statement, but declines to kick him off the case. A judge last week said the prosecutor in the Karen Reed case used poor judgment in issuing a public statement defending his case, but declined the defense request to remove the district attorney's office from the trial. Reed is accused of killing her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with her SUV when she dropped it. We all know what he's there for. We've all been, uh, okay, I'm changing my idea on Kyle's because I love Rush. So I'm just saying he might be the good Kyle. He is the king of the good Kyles right now. There are Sith Kyles and Jedi Kyles, and he is part of the Jedi group. Reed's attorneys asked Superior Court Judge Beverly J. Canone to throw Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey's office off the case because of a video issued last August. In the video, Morrissey railed against the quote, harassment of witnesses, end quote, in the case. He said the people who were in the cop's home that night were witnesses, not suspects, as the defense contends. These people were not part of a conspiracy, and they certainly did not commit a murder or any crime that night, he said. They have been forthcoming with authorities, provided statements, and have not engaged in any cover up. To have them accused of murder is outrageous. The defense has also tried to connect personal relationships between the witnesses and police investigators, including lead detective Michael Proctor of the Massachusetts State Police. Morrissey said Proctor had no close relationships to the witnesses, and any, quote, suggestion to the contrary is a lie, end quote. Reed's lawyers accused Morrissey of violating the Massachusetts rules of professional conduct pertaining to pretrial publicity. The rules say, in part, that the attorney involved in the matter shall not make any extrajudicial statements. This is the same thing that the defense in the Delphi case is getting reamed for, because they made that, well, that's part of the reason that they're in trouble, but they made that press release prior to there being a gag order. But technically, you're not really supposed to make, as a lawyer, judicial or any sort of statements once a trial is kind of convened. About a case that would have substantial likelihood of materially prejudicing an adjudicative proceeding in the matter. Specifically addressing prosecutors, the rules say that they should refrain from making comments that could heighten public condemnation of the accused. Morrissey made a statement days after Reed's attorney, Alan Jackson, went on NBC or ABC's Nightline to point the finger at witnesses in the case. Cannon took issue with both lawyers' comments with the media. She said Jackson's statements about the witnesses possibly being murderers or involved in conspiracy, quote, are the type of extrajudicial statements that are more likely to have prejudicial effect on the statement. While Morrissey's video statement also risks, quote, heightening the public condemnation of Reed. The contents of the contentions of the defendant in this regard are non-trivial, Cannon wrote in the 11-page ruling, but Cannon ruled that the prosecutor should not be dismissed from the case unless the conduct is quote-unquote egregious and too severely affects public interest of bringing guilty persons to justice. Still, some of Morrissey's comments, quote, crossed the line and were in, quote, poor judgment, Cannon wrote. Reed's defense also object to the district attorney's office disclosure that the U.S. Attorney's Office in November 2022 had started its own investigation, possibly looking into law enforcement misconduct. The investigation prompted Morrissey's office to send their federal counterparts a letter asking that they let them know if any exculpatory information was uncovered. Reed's attorneys accused the prosecutor of failing to notify them of ongoing federal investigation for 6 months. Yeah, you're supposed to tell people that you're being investigated. Violating evidence disclosure rules. The defense asked the judge to dismiss the case or disqualify the district attorney's office. However, Cannon also rejected that request, saying the prosecutors knew about the investigation. They did not know the exact nature or whether any new evidence was uncovered. Her trial is scheduled to start April the 16th. So that will be one that we really want to watch. I know that Baker has done a lot of work with all of the hearings and things like that. So I will be sending you guys to Broken Baker after I finish up my little show. But and they are doing the trial of the guy from the float tubes that stabbed a bunch of people. So that's an interesting case. To know one's enemy is to be prepared, and cicadas are about to, well, overpopulate the entire world. So let's see why cicadas are nature's weirdos. They pee stronger than us, and an STD can turn them into zombies. How do we get them all STDs? Just asking for a friend. The periodical cicadas are about to infest two parts of the United States aren't just plentiful, they're downright weird. These insects are the strongest urinators in the animal kingdom with flows that put humans and elephants to shame. Okay, which scientist was high enough that they thought, you know what? I am going to look into how cicadas pee. I mean, someone has to study it, but there you go. They have pumps in their head that pull moisture from roots and trees, allowing them to feed for more than a decade underground. They are rescuers of caterpillars, and they are being ravaged by an STD that turns them into zombies. Okay, question. If they are zombies, do they stop humming? Because I'm kind of okay with that. Inside trees are sugary, nutrient heavy saps that flow through tissue called phylum. Most insects love the sap, but not cicadas. They go for the tissue called xylem, which carries mostly water and a bit of nutrients. But it's not easy to get into the xylem, which doesn't just flow out when a bug taps into it, but is under negative pressure. Cicadas can get the fluid because of its oversized head has a pump, said University of Alabama Huntsville entomologist Carrie Deans. They use their proboscis like a tiny straw, about the width of a hair, with a pump sucking out the liquid, said Georgia Tech biophysicist Professor Saad Bahama. They spend nearly their entire lives drinking year after year. It's a hard way to make a living. Hey, it sounds like most lawyers I know. Years and years of, well, and me eventually, years of my life staying at home learning to day drink. I'm just kidding. Going with the flow. All that watery fluid has to go out the other end, and boy, does it. Balma in March published a study of the urination flow rates of animals across the world. Sir, why? Get a girlfriend, get a wife, get a waifu, get a fake girlfriend, get a Tamagotchi Hatchimal. I mean, I I don't know what made you pursue this, level of study, but get out of the lab and touch a grass, okay? Just like a couple pieces of grass. Cicadas were clearly the king, peeing 2 to 3 times stronger and faster than elephants and humans. He couldn't look at the periodical cicadas that mostly feed and pee underground, but he used video to record and measure the flow rate of their Amazonian cousins, which topped out at about 10 feet per second, or 3 meters per second. They have a muscle that pushes the waste through a tiny hole like a jet. I mean, I think we understand how pee works, but okay. Balma said he said he learned this when in the Amazon and he happened upon a tree the locals called a weeping tree because of the fluid flowing down like the plant was crying, but it was cicada pee. Look, y'all, nature is gross. Every time I'm like, I would love to be more in nature, I get to hear about weeping trees because it's all about pee. No, no, this is why I stay in my house. This is why I stay in my house and I do not even deal with it. If you walk around in a forest where they're actively chorusing on a hot sunny day, it feels like raining, the University of Connecticut entomologist John Cooley said. That's their honeydew or waste product coming out the back end, and it's called cicada rain. Absolutely not. No. Reasons Mo will not go in the forest. The hills have eyes. Deliverance. Cicada pea. Cicada pea. Good for caterpillars. In the years and areas where cicadas come out, caterpillars enjoy a cicada reprieve. University of Maryland entomologist Dan Grunner Runners studied caterpillars after the 2021 cicada emergence in the mid Atlantic. He found that the bugs that turn into moths survive the spring in bigger numbers because the birds that usually eat them are too busy eating cicadas. Periodical cicadas are lazy, fat, and slow, Gunner said. They're extraordinarily easy to capture for us and for their predators. Well, there you go. Zombie cicadas. Look, I'm telling y'all, I am willing to infect the entire cicada population. I know there's talks of eliminating mosquitoes. I think cicadas need to be on that. And look, I know we are playing God. I know that Jurassic Park, life finds a way. But if we are given dominion over the animals, cicadas and mosquitoes have to go. Zombie cicadas. There is a deadly sexually transmitted disease, a fungus that turns cicadas into zombies and causes their bits to fall off. Okay, well that's kind of mean. I don't want your bits to fall off. That's a little too cray cray for me, Cooley said. The real problem is even stranger than science fiction, Cooley said. This is a sexually transmitted zombie disease. Cooley has seen areas in the Midwest where up to 11 or 10% of individuals were infected. The fungus is also a type of hallucinogen that affects birds that would eat them. The birds are going to be high, y'all. This white fungus overtakes the male, and their bits are torn from their body, and chalky spores are spread around to nearby other cicadas, he said. The insects are sterilized, not unalived. This way, the fungus uses cicadas to spread it to others. They're completely at the mercy of the fungus. Cooley said they're the walking dead. Well, for the love of all that is holy science, I can see you, Mr. Fauci. Come here. Come over to Mama Mo. Do not, and I repeat, for the love of the last of us, do not mess with this fungal disease. I want no gain of function research. I want you to leave the cicadas alone, put it down, get away from the lab. I will lose my ever living bat loving mind if y'all try to start messing with this fungus and you make it the if you make us the last of us and then I have to go through the last of us too, I I will I will revolt. There will be an issue because you destroyed The Last of Us with The Last of Us 2, and no, just stop. Apparently, Oregon is having a little bit of a rethinkaroo about, legalizing everything. So an Oregon governor signs a bill recriminalizing possession of certain street non-legal pharmaceuticals, if you will. Oregon's Democratic Governor Tina Kotek on Monday signed into law a bill that recriminalizes possession of small amounts of, non-street legal pharmaceuticals, ending the first in the nation experiment with decriminalization that was hobbled by implementation issues. The new law rolls back a 2020 voter approved measure that are by making so-called personal use a possession a misdemeanor punishable by up to 6 months in jail. It also enables way for treatment to be offered as an alternative to criminal penalties by encouraging law enforcement agencies to create deflection programs that would divert people to addiction and mental health services instead of criminal justice system. In a in a signing letter, Kotek said the law's success will depend on deep coordination between courts, police, prosecutors, defense attorneys, local mental health providers, describing them as necessary partners to achieve the vision for this legislation. Measure 110, approved by voters by 58% support in 2020, made the personal use, possession of illicit things such as H and, you know, little bit of powder and the method acting drug only punishable by a ticket and a maximum fine of $100. Supporters said treatment is more effective than jail in helping people overcome addiction, and that the decades long approach of arresting people for possession and using drugs hasn't worked. The law directed hundreds of millions of dollars of the state's cannabis tax revenue toward addiction services, but the money was slow to get out the door, and health authorities already grappling with the illness of unknown origin that we must not speak about, struggled to stand up with new treatment systems, state auditors found. At the same time, the fentanyl crisis began to spark an increase in deadly overdoses. Those pressures prompted Oregon Democrats to shift their stance on decriminalization policy in the recent months. Some who historically supported the measure voted for the new law during this year's short legislative session, while other Democratic lawmakers opposed the measure, concerned it would result in more arrests and exacerbate social inequalities. It ultimately passed the Democrat controlled legislature last month. GOP leaders had long sought to overhaul Measure 110 after Kotek signing House Minority Leader Jeff Helfrich said the law illustrated how Republicans, quote, stood united and forced Democrats to restore criminal penalties. The change takes effect September the 1st. So, do not hold on. Responsibly take all illicit things to wherever you turn those in and recycle them. But you have till September 1st. So I think, you've been given warning for some reason. In our final story, a couple discovers a secret room behind a bookcase in the home they've lived in for 4 years. If I found a secret room in my house, I would tell no one. I would slowly and by my own self hobble all of my office stuff into said mystery room and then disappear for hours on end. I'm just saying. I don't care if it used to previously be a murder room, a hidden room in my house that no one else could find. I'm down for it. A couple discovered a secret room inside a house they'd lived in for years before sparking social media to create several theories about how previous tenants used the space. TikTok user Aurora Blazing Star captured the moment her husband pushed a portion of the wall out of the way to reveal an open metal door in a small room inside their walls. What the F? We've never seen this in our house and we've lived here for 4 years, Blazing Star said in a video post earlier this month. The secret room was discovered when the couple was removing carpet in their basement, only to discover a sliding drywall pocket door. The couple proposed several instances in which the former homeowners used this as a bomb shelter, panic room, or gun safe. The elongated room contained a working light switch, bulb, several wires hanging on the wall, a drain, floor mats, and rust patches on the floor. The questionable spots on the ground drew concern from Blazing Star, who suggested calling the police and bringing in a canine to investigate. Should we bring in a cadaver dog? The forensic nurse asked. No, they probably had a force multiplier safe in here. Blazing Star's husband, a physician, stood in the doorway the entire video and gave his own theory of what the room was meant to be. I think this was meant as a panic room. Local police were eventually called to the home to investigate the mysterious room, but found no evidence of a crime, Blazing Star said in a subsequent video. As they exited the enclosed space, the couple came up with ideas of utilizing the newly discovered extra space. This would be a guest room if your mother wanted to stay, Blazing Star's husband said. The original video, posted on March 22nd, has been viewed over 1.3 million times. The homeowners claim they recently discovered the room because the sliding wall was behind a large bookshelf, with only part of it out of place, being the missing drywall at the base of the wall. The creepy room in the basement wasn't the only one built inside the home. Blazing Star shared another room was located upstairs, and she used it as their children's playroom, which was found behind a wall mirror. Look, y'all, these were some kinky people. That is where their St. John's cross was. That is what's going on in my mind. That was their playroom, and that's where I'm going with it. It was not a safety room. Also, heck yes, I would put my entire office down there. No worries. I would take some salt with me, holy water. I'd bribe a Catholic I know, because I don't know that I can go into a Catholic church anymore as a recovering Catholic, but I would be okay. Like, "Sir, you can haunt me in a bit. I am just having 5 minutes alone. You don't wanna piss me off, I will double haunt you, okay?" They didn't see any signs of a crime, they're not investigating anything, they did not see anything that looked like DNA evidence that needed to be collected, but they were really impressed on how the room was hidden and that it was really cool. In follow-up videos, the couple showed their children the room, with their older daughter stepping inside onto the questionable flooring with bare feet, while the youngest son carried what looked to be a cross with him. Son, you have it right. We're carrying in our holy relics. We do not go in there without some backup. I hope you had some salt. Winchester proud. Just saying, watch Supernatural for 5 minutes, you take some salt with you don't ask questions. Despite all the evidence Blazing Star gave inside the room, many social media users still gave their opinions and theories of the room's previous use. Ma'am, that screams an unaliving room. You can only open the door from the outside. There's a floor drain and rust on the floor. I think you guys need to have the police come in and look at that, one commenter said. Panic rooms do not have a lock on the outside. It actually looks like a room that Dexter would have in his room. Look at the drain in the floor. No, no, seriously, sell me this house. I want all the hidden rooms. I'm just saying, you guys. I just want a door that locks and is effective. Any hoozle. If you don't have an extra room in your house, mark yourself safe. Be careful today. It looks like almost the entire continent, past Idaho and Iowa, are in the middle of storm central. I am lucky to have gotten through the first storm, so there'll just be storms this afternoon. So I will keep you guys updated because I don't know if I'll be filming nightly news with Mo if we have a giant storm system. But I will keep you guys up to date with that. And I am sending you off to Baker. He is doing the tubing stabbing trial. And I think that's really interesting. I finally saw the film or the footage today, and it looks like a very interesting case because the Apple River stabbing, because it looks like you could argue both ways from what I saw, at least. It doesn't help that they were all super drunk. Anyhoozle, have a wonderful day. I will see you this evening, hopefully, and, back here will have changed a bit because I'm going to try to do a little bit of updating with some power tools that I'm not really supposed to use. Don't tell Mr. Mo. Just kidding. I mean, you can tell Mr. Mo, but I will have already done it by the time he knows. Anywho, have a great day, and if he didn't want me using his tools, he could have done it this weekend when I asked. Anywho, I'm a butt. Have a great day. Bye, guys.